Pennsylvania is the 5th largest state in the United States out of 50, and Pennsylvania is the largest swing state. So it's a state that sometimes Democrats win and sometimes Republicans win. So pretty much Pennsylvania will determine whether Donald Trump or Harris is president. So that's why so much money and so much attention is being spent. Inflation has been very high here. So people are struggling buying food, groceries at the store to feed their families. Gasoline and energy are more expensive. Even housing prices have gone up. So we've had a lot of inflation, and it's put pressure on everyday families to be able to make ends meet. Yes, it's going to be a close race. There are Democrat areas of Pennsylvania and Republican areas of Pennsylvania. Right now, we're in what's called a purple area. So purple area is an area that's both Republican and Democrat. So one of the reasons we had this event here is to try to help swing more people to the Republican side. But I'm confident, I think that the momentum is on the Republican side and that we will be victorious on November 5th. I voted early. I voted a month ago. Just this weekend, we had our last early voting in person at an ice skating rink. The line was over 2 hours long. There was a lot of enthusiasm for people to vote early. Election day is going to be very busy too. It will be very crowded. So the federal law dictates that the date is on the first Tuesday in November, November 5th. But each state is in charge of running their own election. Each state then has a number of what's called electoral votes. Pennsylvania has 19 electoral votes, which is why it's so important. We have the most electoral votes of any swing state. So the state determines the hours that voting occurs. Ours occur from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Some states have shorter or longer hours, and so the states determine the actual way the voting occurs on that day, but the federal government determines that the voting occurs on that day. Well, I think voting is a very important thing. It's something that needs to be protected. And so, we need to make sure that people are able to vote, that people have IDs to vote, that it's done fairly. And if anyone's breaking any election laws, they should be punished very severely. Well, I don't know those details, but if someone is voting who is illegally voting, that should be punished to the full extent of the law. And that's one of the reasons why I believe you should have to show an ID in order to vote, and that will help make sure that it's only legal people who will vote. Yes, so California is a very liberal, very progressive state, and it's controlled by Democrats from the top to the bottom. And so they've implemented policies that are very destructive to the economy and to families and to people. And I think that most people do not want to see that happen across the entire country. Pennsylvania families don't want California-type policies here in Pennsylvania and at the federal level. Well, there's no place that's entirely safe, but we have places that are safer than others. In the United States, our cities are often the least safe places. They tend to be run by very liberal Democratic mayors, and they don't support the police. Here, Republicans are very supportive of our police, very supportive of individual rights and security, and so that's something that I'm in favor of. I think the election is going to be safe. It's always been safe here in the United States. Sometimes emotions and people get very fired up. So sometimes in line, we might have someone who's a strong Donald Trump supporter standing next to a strong Harris supporter, and there could be words exchanged and hopefully nothing physically exchanged. But by and large, 99% of the time, it's a very peaceful thing. People from both sides wait in line. They cast their votes at their local election place, and it goes on. 2020 was a special incident. We had COVID going on. Because of COVID, things were done differently, and it allowed opportunities for things not to be as transparent as they could be. Now here in 2024, we have lawyers, we have election watchers, we have observers. So we're pretty confident that things are going to be done very safely and securely. He's going to hopefully secure our border. We need to secure our border to make sure that legal immigrants don't flood into the country. He's going to help restore America as a strong country. That will help bring peace to a lot of parts of the world. And it will help balance our budget. Right now, America runs a very large budget deficit when we're racking up those debts, and that needs to be balanced. She changes all the time. People don't. One time she says she's for something, the next time she says she's against it. Unfortunately, I think she does it because she realizes how unpopular her position is, and then she changes it to try to lie to people to get them to vote for her by changing her position. I think that people are tired of other people telling them how to vote, and especially old politicians. people are going to make their own decisions based on the issues.